It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
Hello, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land. How the heck is everybody doing? Vicky, are you feeling better? Everyone wants to know.
So much better. Like night and day. Thank goodness.
Did you have, was it a 24-hour flu, a 72?
It was a vaccine flu.
Oh, okay.
I got my second vaccine and it took me out for 2 days. So.
Yeah, I hear it knocks some people out a little bit more than others. And that's all we're talking about, the vaccine. We're moving on. We have so much to get to tonight. The first thing I'd like to talk to is about this UFO footage. Have you guys seen this stuff that was released? This is some good stuff. There. If you don't mind, Birdie, if you could pick it up, we're gonna let the these guys talk about it really quick, just to give everybody a little synopsis.
UFO encounters. Then that group is releasing a comprehensive report for Congress in June.
So I think that started at the
Pentagon says that this video here appearing to show a UFO is in fact real. Well, a U.S. Navy pilot recorded the pyramid-shaped object. Now, it's not clear when or where this was shot. But right now, a government task force is gathering photographs and also videos of UFO encounters. Then that group is releasing a comprehensive report for Congress in June.
What do you think, Vicky? Do you like it?
It needs a little bit more to impress me.
Wow.
It's kind of hard to, I mean, yes, it definitely looks triangular shaped. It looks like it's moving in kind of a weird pattern, but I need to know a little bit more. Like, where is it? How far away is this? Is this from radar? What is it?
Oh, they're saying it's some of the best UFO footage it's ever going to. Trust me, the people are very excited about this. I think, I don't know, maybe the flu shot still has you.
I just don't think it's that impressive.
Beckett, you're a UFO liker, aren't you?
Yeah, I like it. If it makes it more interesting if the government doesn't know what it is, if that is in fact true. I think that's up for debate. But if the government, in fact, with all their technology and satellites and observations and awareness of military stuff, if they don't know what it is, that to me makes me lean in a lot more for, in terms of my curiosity.
Well, people, the naysayers always go, it's not a UFO. It's always another country. It's their military. But Denny's, if our military is saying, we don't know what this is, we don't have those kind of, we don't have that kind of technology. Wouldn't you say the U.S. government would know if another country had something that was so out of this world? I mean, wouldn't we know if we could do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think we could make an assumption of where they were at technologically advanced wise. I mean, I'm sure we have similar technologies. I think it would be more so that it was just a construct they hadn't seen before. Maybe they're trying a different style. Remember when drones first came out? Those seemed like a foreign alien technology. And now, I mean, they're pretty commonplace to where you can even buy toys that have the drone ability. And it's just, they found a better system of propulsion. And I think that's the name of the game. I think eventually they're going to stop trying to use probably like the formula fuels they use. And they're probably going to try to move to, I forget what the term they use is, but there's some sort of like hybrid biodiesel or something.
Birdie, the American governments, they come out and say, there's no way any other country could come up with this kind of technology. Is America being too arrogant with their ways?
Maybe they're just being honest for once and just saying, we have no idea what this is. It could be other countries. It could be aliens. I don't know. I feel like there could be reverse psychology at play, though. They've been saying for so many years that they don't exist, that maybe now by them saying it, people will back off them. I don't know.
Yeah, we get emails all the time from people, especially in the 70s and 80s, kind of that time frame, where they would have a UFO encounter and everybody thought was a liar, or they, were drinking or smoking the funny stuff, Denny's.
Well, think about how many people probably reported that stuff back then. And like you said, it was kind of laughed off or even unreported. They probably saw all sorts of weird things. Now, if something is spotted, there's 14 videos of it. Everybody puts it up and then everybody discredits it or credits it or whatever they want to do with it. But I feel like now this would be the golden era of finding all the hidden mysteries, the Mothman, talking Sasquatch, Skunk Ape. You think all of them would get exposed now? Everything's getting caught on camera. Ring doorbells are catching everything.
You bring up Sasquatch, and boy, oh boy, the theory that Sasquatch or the Bigfoot, the species, can teleport with its mind is such a common thing now. It's a popular theme that's coming to the forefront. Birdney, is that why we haven't found Bigfoot? Bigfoot can use mind powers?
I hope so, because that means that it's possible. I want mind powers.
If you had mind powers, what kind of mind power would you want? You only get one, and you have to be very specific with it.
All females have mind powers. They're mind ninjas.
Birdie, you want to take that?
No, you did not read my mind, Beckett. I would say I would want to talk to animals.
Ah, okay, Birdie Doolittle.
Yes.
Do a lot.
What? Do a lot, I wish, please.
Party with Birdie?
Why not?
It's happening.
Is that how Beckett? Is that how you do the Beckett charm right there?
It failed. I give it an F.
It's so bad it works. Sometimes. 60% of the time it works all the time.
69% of the time.
There you go. See? She's coming around.
All right, moving on. Becky, you have a topic you'd like to get into. We have pictures and everything. So the floor is yours. Explain what's going on to everybody.
Okay, well, this past weekend, a friend and I, we went to St. Augustine for a girls' getaway. And on Friday night, I think it was, we went to a local place called the White Lion. It's been there forever. And it's primarily now it's a bar. So anyway, we were sitting at the bar at the end. We were getting friendly with the bartenders. She takes out her phone and she has the camera in front. I can see her phone. So I'm looking through her phone as she's taking this picture. So she takes the picture. She puts her phone away. She doesn't even look at it right away. So I'd say about maybe 10, 15 minutes later, we were in a picture war with her daughter. So she's like, oh, I'm going to send this one. This is my first one for the picture war. Well, when she sent it, she looked at it. And if Brittany has that first one to pop up, we noticed it was extremely strange. It looks like two pictures have been cut and pasted together. Now, we were sitting, if you look to the right side of the picture, that's the bar top. So the bar top technically should be across the entire picture. There is actually a guy standing next to that girl. And that was the bartender. His name is Mark. And he's been completely wiped out of the picture. Now, the skeptic, and myself being one of those, would say this is simply some kind of glitch with the phone. Although any other picture she took the entire vacation, nothing like this happened. Now, we did take a picture once we saw it. We took out the camera again and she took another picture, which we have that one just to show that it was a regular picture. That's the guy in the hat is the one who should be in the first picture that's been obliterated. And as you can see, the bar goes all the way across. You shouldn't even be able to see as much of the girl as you see because the bar should have been in the way. And the guy in the red shirt, when we showed him the picture and we were talking to the girl and she's like, oh, it doesn't surprise me because, you know, the place is haunted. And she goes on and she's telling the story about a little kid. And I'm like, I interrupted. I said, I don't know about a little kid, but you definitely have a man spirit here. The guy in the red shirt's like, I knew it. All these years, he's been claiming that there's a man, he named him Charlie, and that Charlie interacts with him, especially like at closing time, like you can hear him stomping upstairs. He'll knock over the chairs that they put up, in the bar section and stuff. So anyway,
Wow.
I can't
So-
explain it, but I know that it was odd.
Where was this at again?
At the White Lion in St. Augustine.
Does it bring out the lion in you?
Well, that might have been the couple Bloody Marys that I had. I can't blame the location.
I love it. I love it, Vicky. So let's go to our resident skeptic, Mr. Beckett. You hear a tale like that from a Vicky. Thoughts, concerns?
It's weird. I've never seen that happen on a iPhone or an Android, and the cameras are pretty amazing these days. So it's a weird glitch in the matrix, so to speak. So I don't know. I'll have to Google if those things happen, although, but it's definitely worth looking into. That's pretty scary. White Lion's pretty old pub, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been there a while. It's been open as a business. I think the current owner, she said, has owned it since the 1970s. But the original building that sat on the site, I think, had burned down at one point, and then they had rebuilt the building that they have today. And yeah, I mean, my kids and I, they used to serve food. They haven't since COVID, but my kids and I go there all the time. We never had any personal experiences or anything, and it was just kind of strange. And like I said, when she took the picture, I was looking through her camera at that time, and it didn't look strange. And it wasn't until we pulled it up that we saw that it looked like two pictures slapped together.
Danny, did you get the final word on this topic real quick, being the tech guy here? What do you think? I know you're a skeptic as well.
Yeah, it's very odd. Only thing I can think of is some of the newer cameras to use that feature with the moving photo. They take like 5 or 6 photos and they compile it down to the best one. It's the only thing I can think of. Maybe it freaked out, but yeah, I mean, it's a very odd thing. Like Beckett said, have to look more into it.
And that's why we call it weird and
Whatever.
nice, Birdie. I love it. That's good. Okay, well, here's a little story or an email, if you shall, that I teased on the KVJ show. And this one's kind of a long one, so bear with me. I want to get Birdie's thoughts on this. Dear Weird Whatever, I saw a reptilian man when I was hunting. I tried to shoot it, and it threw something at me with what appeared to be its mind. I know you're going to think I'm some asswipe who's drunk or crazy, but I swear I'm not. This really happened to me. I was living in North Carolina when it happened. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it wasn't human, and it wasn't a normal animal. After doing research, I honestly feel like I was face to face with a lizard person. This was back in 1996, and I'll never forget it. And to all the people who say I'm lying or crazy, you all can kiss my ass. Davey from Jensen Beach. That's quite an email, Birdie.
I guess I thought the lizard people were advanced in technology, though. Why would they be walking around in the woods?
So I've heard all kind of tales about the lizard people. I have heard of people seeing them out in the woods. I've heard stories of them in the water. Do you even believe that the lizard or the reptilian race could be a real thing?
I mean, I think it's possible that there's life forms outside of our planet that may be studying us. So like the very bare bones of that theory. Do I think Hillary Clinton and all these other people are lizard people? No, not really. But I wouldn't throw out the fact that maybe people are living among us that are aliens.
Let me throw this at you, Vicky. You know, sightings of alien people, UFOs, ghosts, all of that. Is it possible those creatures could be on this planet, but they do have an ability where they're able to slip in and out of our dimension? Or maybe they can be invisible. Is that possible?
Well, I think anything's possible as far as that goes. If anybody's ever watched Dead Files and heard some of the descriptions of the things that Amy Allen comes across, I mean, she's described things that sound almost like lizard people. So I would say anything's possible. I wouldn't throw it out.
I get that that's a far-fetched thing, but just what if for a second, suspend reality, and we find out all of this shit is going on, all of these little secret dimensions right around us. What a mind blown, huh?
Totally.
But
I
it's
mean,
so
Becky-
cool to think of.
It's great. Becky, I remember when we first started this podcast, the idea of lizard people made you scoff.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there with faking the moon landing and flat earthers.
Denny's, I feel like he's kind of calling you out
I
about the whole flat or the whole the moon.
I feel like this day and age, people are probably way more skeptical of the moon landing than ever. I'd imagine they're skeptical of almost every other thing that's happening on in our government. So you think now in times I'd have some like solidarity in there, but I do think that everybody should always question the higher authority, because I mean, a lot of the times, even if it's, think of Thanos, everything's for the betterment of everything. That's not necessarily the betterment for you, because I mean, you're not the part of the giant system. You're just like one of the cogs in the machine. Is it the best for you? No. So you should always take everything with a grain of salt, in my opinion. All information.
I agree with
Bertie.
that.
Oh, go ahead, Becca. Did you want to follow up on that? I'm sorry.
I was just saying I agree with that. In my opinion, I think it's more likely that there's aliens and UFOs out there than there is lizard people.
I can dig. Birdie, are the people saying anything of weird significance, or is it just kind of they playing grab ass in the chat room?
Well, someone said that was probably LSD. I mean, I can imagine you being on drugs and maybe seeing things out in the woods. I probably wouldn't recommend doing LSD and hunting. And then we have someone who believes the moon landing was definitely fake. So you're not alone, Denny's.
Look at that. We're not alone.
That is true. I think after that little clever quip.
Oh, yeah.
Denny's
Random
facts.
Okay, well, if you are playing along at home for the first time, our sweet producer Denny's gives us a series of factoids, and Vicky, our educator, she grades him on each one of them. If she loves it, she gives it an A. If she hates it, she gives his ass an F. All right, Dirty Hippie, the floor is yours.
All right. Did you guys know that if you added up all the numbers on a roulette wheel, it comes out to the total of 666?
Ew.
In fact, people believe this is proof that gambling is inherently evil. Weird coincidence, though. But yeah, just next time you're spinning that roulette wheel, just think about it. There's actually and I looked into this because I didn't know there was a strategy called the 666 strategy when playing roulette, which is where you spread your bets out across the board so that each turn you have a higher probable chance of winning. And it's like a strategy, I guess.
Vicky?
I like that one. I actually do. He's coming in strong with an A.
Whoa, Big D. Nice.
Wow,
Keep it
thank you.
rolling.
Let's see. Let's lower the bar a little bit here with this one. I can't believe, if we brought this up, I do apologize, but do you guys know anything about Brown Friday? Have you heard that term?
No.
Well, so I guess the day after Thanksgiving is the busiest day for American plumbers. And in the plumbing industry, that day is known as Brown Friday. And they actually charge extra rates on that day because it's the busiest day of the year for plumbing.
Dang, poop, there it is.
Wow.
Yes, it's an industry phrase.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
It's a real shitty day.
Oh, yeah.
Big D, you're coming in real strong.
Brown Friday.
Vicky?
As much as I hate to, I do think that's interesting. I got to give that one an A.
I was going to say, if you gave him a C, I was going to go, Vicky, are you shitting me?
All right, let's see here. I found this is interesting and super random as well. There's only two fears that people are innately born with. That's the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. All other fears are learnt fears and are caused through traumatic experiences or social means. In fact, I guess the top 5 fears amongst everyone too is snakes, bugs, mice, bats, heights, and water. So,
You know, it's funny. Most of those are in my dreams.
but yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay.
only
Gonna talk
born
about
with two. But I have I guess everybody has a fear of falling. What's the other one is loud noises. Yeah, I guess I have both those fears. Yeah, those are two you're
How would
born
they
with.
know that though? Like they interviewed the baby and they were like, "What are you afraid of?" And they all said they were afraid of falling and death. Like, I feel like that's a very subjective test.
I got to tell you, Birdie, I like you questioning authority because Denny's taught us to question authority.
It's true. You should
Exactly.
question all information you hear for sure. Do some research into it. I found a couple of sites backing it up, but yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, how the heck do they come to these studies? But there's an entire like scientific pamphlet on it, on how they did it.
You don't look that impressed.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around it, just like what Brittany brought up. Maybe they like expose babies to all the different things, and then across the board, the only two that they reacted to was the noise, and like they were gonna fall. I don't know. That one is a puzzler. It's not quite an A. I'm gonna give it a B.
Well, I'll take it.
I feel like, not to interrupt your bit, Denny's, because I think it's going swimmingly, but I feel like if you are a student of Vicky's, if she likes you, she really likes you. If she doesn't like you, oh shit.
Don't be outside of the circle of trust.
I feel like you're right.
Don't get your name on the board.
So we all know triangles have 3 sides. Squares, they have 4 sides. But do you know what what the name of an object that has 26 sides is called? It's cool.
Hexagon.
It's actually called a rhombocuba-octahedron. It is a 26-sided shape, and it's only found as a dice, man-made. You won't find it in nature. But in case you're ever wondering what a 26-sided dice was named, it's a rhombocuba-octahedron.
Wow.
Like a D&D dice.
I think Beckett yawned.
I mean, that's something. That's something I'll never use again. So,
you guys aren't into the rhombocuba-octahedron?
No, it's between a C or a D.
You really rolled the dice on that fact.
Oh.
Ricky, I don't know. I might give that boy an F on that one.
All right, geez, I won't bring up shapes anymore. Geometry, I get it.
You rolled the dice on that one, Denny's, and you lost.
You're right. 26-sided loss. All right, let's see. Moving on. So here, this is insane, and this was from a study from 2019, so it wasn't too long ago, and it was done by the United States agricultural system. It's 12 plants and 5 animals make up 75% of the diets around the entire world. 12 plants and 5 animals. Those plants are, and I shall read.
Only talking about that kale.
Okay, hold on.
Kale didn't make the list.
Denny's, before you do it, I want to see how many Becky can try to list.
Kale's not on there, so I'll give you that one.
How many?
Becky,
Beans, rice.
Rice is on there.
Beans, rice, and does lettuce count, or do I have to like specify the type of lettuce?
You can say lettuce, but it's not on there.
Damn, Becky, you're really falling apart here, man.
It's weird. You'll see why. When I read this off, you'll see exactly, because all the food we eat contains all this stuff. It's sugarcane is number 1. Corn, which is maize, rice, wheat, potatoes, soybeans, weirdly yucca, tomatoes, bananas, onions, apples, and grapes. I'm guessing for wine. And then the 5 animals that everyone eats is pigs, chickens, cattle, sheep, and goat. Given they're followed up by byproducts and a bunch of other stuff, but the top 5 are those. Those make up 75% of the entire world diet.
Kind of surprised by the goat, but
surprised by the goat as well, but I think it's bigger outside the States.
Yeah, I thought that'd be more bat.
Well, there wasn't.
I think you did a great job tonight. Everybody, round of applause for Sweet Denny's home run, my friend. Here, Vicky, here's something that you might want to give your 2 cents. Dear Weird and Whatever, my child has been crying blood, but it's only after she sees this one particular spirit. The spirit likes to keep her up at night and play with her hair. Ugh. The next morning, my daughter will cry blood. This lasts for only an hour or so, but it's freaking us out. Doctors think I'm crazy. They can't find anything wrong with her. Have you ever heard of this being a side effect of a spirit? Laura.
Not a side effect of a spirit, but you can cry blood. One of the reasons you can cry blood is because of trauma. And I don't know if that's specifically like physical trauma or if it's emotional trauma. If the child is scared of the spirit, it would make sense if emotional trauma counts that would happen. But there's actually, I don't know what the name of, but there's actually a medical reason why you cry blood.
Wouldn't the doctors get that, you'd think?
Well, one of the things that they say is that one of the categories of that is that you can do it for absolutely no reason, and it will last. It'll run its course for like a month or so, and then it just disappears.
Wow. Kind of like a pink eye or an impetigo.
Gonorrhea.
Maybe.
Or a gonorrhea. There was at one point, wasn't there a super gonorrhea kind of?
I think it's still around. It just doesn't get talked about. Super gonorrhea.
They have PSAs for super gonorrhea. You know what? That's kind of a big deal, no? Super gons? Super gons.
It's still out there spreading.
Gone
In fact, Forbes did an article on it in December 2020.
Yeah.
Just makes you want to stay home and masturbate. Am I right, Beckett?
100%.
They think it's spreading, and not to derail everything, but they think it's spreading from overuse of antibiotics. So,
Gross.
Why are you nodding your head, Vicky? Why? What is that?
Well, I'm very.
Well, I think
I'm very antibiotics. I'm anti-antibiotics. I think people take them at the drop of a hat. Your body is designed to fight things on their own. Now, I'm not talking about if you get a case, right? That's different. But if you have taken antibiotics for every single cold you ever had and every single this and that, your body is not going to be able to let the antibiotic work on something that's big time. It's going to be like,
Is that how you get them balls, the bitch ass lungs?
it hurts your own antibiotics. I think that's what they're saying, is that from overusing antibiotics, it prevents you from fighting off a super version of gonorrhea.
Well, it mutates. So it becomes immune to it. So if one strand's going around, your body naturally kills it. Then it gets stronger and changes. So the antibiotics that you did use don't work and they're not effective anymore. So therefore it's super gonorrhea.
It sounds rough.
Sometimes people forget antibiotics means against life. That's literally what antibiotics mean. And what it does, and I guarantee there will be a certain point in medicine where we look back at antibiotic use and think it was just literally medieval in nature, because what it does is it just wipes out everything in your microbiome. Now we're realizing how important that is, from your mood to your drive to everything basically comes back to your microbiome. So it just basically wipes out everything, scorched earth effect, and you hope the bad dies and the good comes back. But a lot of times it doesn't come back as robust. So they're actually saying probiotics, but even prebiotics, which is a lot of different kinds of foods like onions and different kinds of other things, help your actual flora and all of that stuff come back. That's your weight loss, your IQ, even your sex drive, all of that stuff's affected with your microbiome.
Denny's, to get back on the super gonorrhea really quick, is there a super chlamydia too? Do all of them now just have this supersized version of themselves?
I bet you, yeah.
Every disease have a go large?
I wonder if that's starting to happen now because of the use of antibiotics.
Tied it back around, and I love that. All right, let's get to another email. Dear Weird and Whatever, did we read the correct me if I'm wrong here, did we not, or did we read I have growling sounds in my ear last week?
We did not.
No? Okay. Dear Weird and Whatever, for the last 2 weeks, I've heard growling noises right by my right ear, but there's nothing there, only an empty pillow. I'm single and it's a pandemic, so I'm sleeping alone. It's happened now twice during the last 2 weeks. I don't have a dog. Both times I've heard the growling just at daybreak when I'm waking up. I'm not hearing things like a dog or a noise of a neighbor, and I can't find the source in my house. Any ideas? It's right by my ear. I can feel its breath. Mary. Growling in the ears.
Is it tinnitus?
I have a small case of tinnitus, and it kind of sucks. The only thing that can cure it is if I put loud or some music on for a good 20 minutes.
So I think tinnitus is, and I heard a loose definition once, but I think it's a muscle in your ear, and when it relaxes, it vibrates slightly, and you can hear it. So I don't know if maybe the music helps it, animate, and then maybe sometimes it doesn't stay flexing.
It can drive a mad. Vicky, growling in the ear. The skeptic in you says what?
The skeptic says that if you're on the break between sleep and waking up, that something's going on that's been misinterpreted. I do think it was interesting when it got to the point where they think they could feel the breath. So that one gives me more cause to pause and think maybe something else is going on. But there's a lot of things that happen to us as we're transitioning from sleep to being awake. And it could be an absolutely natural noise that's coming from outside. Just because, have you ever fallen asleep with the TV on and then it's like this normal volume, and then in the middle of the night you think it's like 50 times louder? So the same thing, it could be an outside noise, and because they're transitioning, it just sounds magnified and closer to their ear.
Every time I fall asleep to The Office, I always forget how loud the theme song.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh my God, Dwight!
Arrested Development has a notoriously loud intro as well.
Oh my gosh, it wakes me up every time. The Office. We also have this one. Why does my 4-year-old child say he knows who murdered my grandfather? Why is my 4-year-old child saying he knows who murdered my grandfather? My grandfather was murdered back in 1979. My child has no idea who he was. I've never spoken to him about any of this. Plus, he's only 4. It was raining the other night, and my son looked at me and said, Grandpa Charles was stabbed on a day just like this. It was raining, and the mean man stabbed him. That mean man's name was William. End quote. My son wouldn't stop talking about it, almost like someone was feeding him what to say. My grandfather was named Charles. He was stabbed on a rainy day. My grandmother also told me that my grandpa had a falling out with a man named Billy. William Billy. Does all of that sound like a coincidence, or is there something to it? Rona from Vero Beach. Cool story. If that's real, that's a badass story, man.
Yeah, more than likely there is a little something to it, especially considering the age of the child. They very well could have a visitation right then from the grandfather, and he's feeding the information. I wouldn't know. I'd have to know whether the child was born at the time. Was the grandfather still alive?
No, it sounds like the grandfather died in the 70s. So the
Okay.
kid's only 4 now.
I mean,
She said the kid never knew him.
but he's not talking like it's him. He's not saying I was stabbed by a guy named Will. So I would kind of eliminate a past life thing. I would say it's more like a spirit talking.
Wow, that's fun. Now, could that be somebody also too acting like it's grandpa to play games with the mom?
Yeah, it could, but what's the point?
Well, what's the point of anything? I mean, why do murderers kill? Why do bad spirits do other, mess with people just to mess? Why do trolls troll?
Yeah, it kind of made me think, like, if you were murdered in the 70s and it's now 2021, like, what do you do in between that time? Is there no such thing as time? Do you just kind of float? Can you imagine just being dead like waiting for someone to communicate how you've been killed for like 40, not 40, like 50 years now?
Well, it depends on if that person actually is an earthbound spirit as opposed to someone who crossed over at the time that they died and is coming back on visitation to try to tell their story. So that's completely different. And yeah, time is kind of a little bit different. If they're an earthbound spirit, they have to rest. And to them, time could be a year that they're resting. And it doesn't mean, that much to them, and they don't realize it's been a year. So it would completely depend on if they're earthbound or not.
Here's what I don't understand. Let's say you're in heaven and you want to come back to get your murderer, right? But if you're in heaven, aren't you all at peace and you're not going to give a shit at that point? I thought the point of heaven was letting all that stuff go, even if it was your murderer. I mean, you're not trying to.
A lot of people do let go of certain kinds of emotions and things like that. I don't refer to it when I give a reading. I don't refer to it as heaven. I refer to it as the other side. And there's different things that we do on the other side. The more than likely, the person would just maybe want some closure or justice to let their story be known, especially if that person who hurt them is still alive and hasn't been caught and is continuing to hurt people. But I've noticed that a lot of like hurt feelings within family members and grudges and things like that, when we go to the other side, those usually are kind of worked through, even if it takes a little time period. It's not instantaneous. See, I was brought up thinking that heaven, as soon as you get there, there's this big giant buffet table and you can eat and everybody's happy and all your pets are there and all that. That's not personally what I've been shown. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's not the way I have been shown it.
Yeah, I know I always bring this up, but they always say if you go to the other side, sometimes you would, you'd see your loved ones and you'd see all of your dreams come true. You want to see Elvis, you want to see Jimi Hendrix. Do they want to see you? Is that their heaven? Oh, I gotta entertain another prick.
Well, I've actually seen people who definitely have family members who spend the majority of their time on the other side, and they go and they hang out with them and they, see them. Maybe their job is to be back here more often to visit the people that they left behind. But yeah, we do reunite with people on the other side. And if it's somebody you didn't like, it's not likely you want to go hang out with them on the other side because you didn't want to do it when you were here.
All very, very good stuff. I love it. Technology. What are your guys' thoughts with all the technology that's going on when it comes to bringing back dead people and having them appear like they're still around? Hi, Brittany. This is your dead uncle from 15 years ago. You're looking great. How is school?
How do I feel about that?
Do you like that? Does that creep you out?
How do you feel about that impersonation of your uncle?
Right.
I'd be like, Uncle, you had some problems. No. I don't know. It depends on the context. Like I always think about that Black Mirror episode where her fiance died or her husband.
Yep.
And they basically installed all this information, like his text messages, like home videos. And basically there was AI that was pretending to be him based off like observing and studying. And then there was like at the weird point, like you could bring him like as a person, like a robot back to life. So Beckett would like that. So that kind of stuff, I'm like, that's kind of teetering on like, ethical, moral issues. But I think it'd be cool to talk to like an AI version of my dead uncle, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming up with all kind of stuff. Every time I go to Facebook, they have that one painting where they open it up and everyone's crying because it's Brittany and her dead uncle and now a dog that she has now. And it's everything that, this picture that could never happen. Technology allows it to look like they're all in the same room together. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? You guys see that on Facebook?
No.
No, but I know what you're talking about.
No one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Catherine, please have my back on this. But I do want to bring up this one clip here. Do you like this? This genealogy site, MyHeritage, has technology that can animate a photo of someone so it looks like they're moving. A 98-year-old man was shown a photo of his late wife coming to life, and it moves him to tears. Here's the audio.
Holy smokes, she's alive.
Yeah, it brings the picture to life.
Look at that smile. Oh, God.
Isn't it amazing?
I can't believe it. It's her. This past November 23rd, we would have been married 75 years. And I still love her.
Damn. That's sweet, right?
Yeah.
Very
That's
sweet.
not. I don't think that's creepy. Denny's, you crying?
No, yeah, there's a little bit of tear in my eyes. It's very sweet. I like that you can do that for those situations. I think it's great. I tend to not think one should live in the past. So, I mean, finding a relic that reanimates somebody that's died, I don't know if that's, I guess, the healthiest thing, but I think in certain situations, just like everything, in certain situations, there's great applications for it. And in others, I think that it could be detrimental.
So I watch a lot of Twilight Zone, as I speak a lot about, and there's a big theme always back then with robots, and their whole thing was robots and companionship. Really what we're kind of going through right now. And it messes with your head sometimes to the point where you think, well, maybe in the future, robots really might have some kind of right to the point where you're not going to be able to stop it and people are going to fight for a robot. For example, let's, again, suspend reality and we find out that Vicky, this whole time, was a robot. But she appears like she's a human. We love her. But then someone comes up, or family says, look, guys, she's not real. She's just machinery, parts, screws and bolts, buttons.
Pull them loose.
Yeah. So does that make it right to destroy her because she's a robot? We have these emotions towards her, but she's not really a human. And most people would go, who gives a shit? It's a robot. Kind of messes with your mind.
Yeah, it's kind of like the philosophy, Denny's thinks that people shouldn't dwell on the past, but then at the same time, I'm like, if it makes them happy and they're not harming anyone, then who cares? Like, you kind of have to go like, who cares if it's not directly affecting someone? And I mean, you can go into like psychologically, is it affecting them? But I don't know if someone's really happy in that reality, and who am I to say anything,
It becomes tough because it becomes, where do you draw the line? Because you could make a case, if you shouldn't live in the past, you shouldn't have any pictures. This one friend of mine said, oh, this is a picture of me when I was younger. I go, well, technically every picture is a picture of you when you were younger, if you think about it. So, if you don't want to live in the past, like, how strict do you want to be about that? Do you not want to save a medal from your high school championship baseball game? Do you not want to have any pictures of your family?
But why do you care?
Why do you care?
Why do you care if they have a trophy from high school?
Well, I was just saying, like, at what extreme do you say you don't want to live in the past? Do you keep certain things? Do you not bury?
Well, like in that Black Mirror episode, it becomes very detrimental. And it's just because that person believes that person's alive.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I could definitely see it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brittany. What?
I could definitely see like the episode we were discussing. I could see it happening. But let's say that someone was actually really happy. Would I still?
Well, like the old man. That's a great example of using an old image to show that old guy his late wife. See, there's an example of good. It's like everything. It's like the food, guns. There's no line where you can draw where this stuff's good or bad.
Social media.
I think that Denny's point, what you mean, you shouldn't get stuck in the past if it's detrimental to your life. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good thing to visit the past. Everyone's going to visit the past a little bit. But when you get stuck to the past and you can't move forward with your life, that's when it's a bad thing. But going and visiting the past isn't a bad thing if you do get great memories. You have to go in the past sometimes for art, for literature, for if you want to write a song, you have to sometimes go into the past. So those are all good.
Personal development just reflecting upon your past decisions. All that stuff's good. I guess ultimately it's just not good to, if you're looking at the yin yang, it's never put all of your chips in one basket, you know? You can't put it all in something. You have to diversify everything.
Great motto.
All real great perspective, guys. I'm really loving the banter. I think it might be time to play a quick round of You Are the Judge. Now, I'm going to give you a crime scenario. You guys are the judge. That criminal is right in front of you. And you give them the sentence right there and then. We have a lot of emails from people who like this. Chat room. Also, please play along. Birdney, if you don't mind, you can read me some of the answers that the chat room is saying.
All right, chat, let's get it.
All right. You are the judge. A 22-year-old female works at a donut shop. She mixes the donut with a ton of her snot and serves it to innocent patrons. The donut dripper knew she had a cold. As she's arrested, she starts to cry and says, "I'm just an innocent girl." What do you give her? Vicky, Judge Vicky.
But she did know, I mean, she was dropping that snot in that dough, right?
The donut dripper knew. It was all premeditated. She knew she had a cold.
I mean, it actually, in these times, that could actually maybe kill somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd give her 2 years.
No probes? No probes?
Probation.
Probation, no probation?
And I wouldn't
My
allow
mind went
her
a
to
totally
work.
different direction.
I wouldn't allow her to work at any place that served food or drink.
And I'm putting gender to the. I want to paint a picture here in the mind. I want you to really get a scene in your head. Okay, all of these are going to be kind of specific characters, so use your imagination. Birdney, what do you give her, Your Honor?
I'm actually curious now what happens when people get a bad grade, like at their restaurant over something like that. Like what actually happens to those people? I feel like they don't even go to jail, right? They just lose their business or something like that, their license.
Yeah, I think
Right?
I think you report it and then it probably goes through the health inspection and then they
Takes
probably close her
9
down.
weeks, nothing happens.
I don't know. I feel like we eat so much bad stuff already. That's probably worse than someone's snot in our food that I'd be like, I don't know, just have her not be able to work in food again. And then I would cry
What?
myself to sleep.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. Beckett, what do you got?
You think it's funny, but it's not?
Oh.
I think I'd give her a week in the clink, and then she has to do something kind of gross. Like I would say something equally gross, but also good for society. So 3 weeks of cleaning bedpans at the hospital.
It's rough.
Well, I gave her. She gets 2 years in jail.
Wow.
Solid. Don't put snot in people's donuts, and don't put them in multiple donuts. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. That's
You know,
serial
unless there's
killer.
so much food like that though, where we just don't know what they're putting in half the time, that I'm like, this is
that's not
opening
the
a can
point,
of
though.
worms.
She's being a snot terrorist. She's trying to take people down, Birdie.
I also work with kids who constantly sneeze and all that stuff. So for me, this is just a daily occurrence.
What's
I know,
the
but
chat
it's
room giving her?
intent.
What's the chat room giving her?
1 year, has to drink snot shots for each person they sold donuts to.
I like that.
Death,
Death.
10 years minimum, 5 years state prison, 3 years probation, death by a pack of emus. Damn.
Is it emus or emos?
Emus. Emo
That's good.
emus.
I don't know what's worse.
Everybody answered, right? Everyone answered on that one, right? All right, cool. Next round. A 35-year-old man steals a sack lunch from a 10-year-old kid, pushes him down, and calls him a dick nose. What do you give him? Birdie.
Mental health. He needs mental health checkup.
Yeah, he's laughing about it. It's premeditated.
Mental health. I don't know. A week in jail.
Yeah, I mean, Beckett.
Oh
I'm giving a week in the clink with no food.
my god.
Oh my gosh.
Murder.
I give him 3 days in the stockades. That's really they put you in the thing and you have to sit in the public square and people can throw tomatoes at you. Yeah. 3 days in the stockade. Somebody calls him a dick nose. It's gonna change his
they
whole
have
perspective.
to like take their bag lunch up to him and be like, "You want this, son?"
He'll be so tired in that thing.
That's great.
Vicky?
3 months in prison with the biggest bubba they can find as his roommate.
Okay.
What?
I say a year in prison, and you get a month of getting sacked. And what we call that in the clink is where we take the sack lunches and we smack them on your ass.
When the bag break?
Denny's, don't ruin this.
I thought you were supposed to do a sack full of soap.
Yeah, it's soap in a
It is,
sock.
but I figured because it was a lunch he stole. I figured for the crime. But you know, if you have to explain your joke, it's not that good of a joke. I digress.
Someone said 3 years with "What Does the Fox Say" playing nonstop.
Oh,
Who
jeez.
said that? Who said that one?
Meredith said that.
Pretty good, Meredith.
That would be rough.
Oh my god.
Baby shark.
Some of you
That'd be
guys are
rough.
soft. All right, you guys want to do one more? You guys like these or no? All right,
Yeah.
one more.
Crazy one.
You want a crazy one?
Sure.
Okay, here's a crazy one. A couple in their early 20s knock off a liquor store. They make the guy at the counter play Russian roulette with one of their snub-nosed 38s while the other gun is pointed at his pecker. However, no bullets are in the gun, but the guy with the guy doesn't know that. He thinks he's gonna die. Denny's.
Who's being punished?
The couple, they get caught.
All right.
Okay, so they have a gun to his pecker and they're making him play Russian roulette on himself, but there's no bullet in the gun.
All right. I think
You want a crazy one?
he should walk the plank if that's the form of punishment. And I think community service for the other. I don't know if it's the equal. I think is one the aggressor?
Well, it's a couple, like a Bonnie and Clyde situation.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, who's the brains behind the operation? They get more time, clearly. More punishment.
They're walking a plank. If you guys are gonna take-
That's such a weird scenario. I got the hardest scenario and I got asked first.
Vicky, what do you got for me?
5 years.
What's that?
5.
5 years.
Yeah, that is so emotionally traumatic. What they did to the guy, they should suffer for 5 years.
Birdie?
I say they shoot his pecker with an actual gun and then he has to live with that the rest of his life. And then I don't know, 5 years in prison, sure.
What about this? What if you go, we'll either give you 10 years in prison or we shoot your pecker off? If that's either the, you guys okay with that?
Yeah. He thinks it's so funny? Then go ahead and shoot his pecker off.
What about the woman? Don't make me say it, because
What you would take?
what are the
what
two
off?
choices? What?
Well, what are you saying? The woman? I'm confused in this scenario. She was also
Never mind.
pointing it.
You're gonna shoot her cervix off.
Well, I'm saying,
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god, female mutilation.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a quivs.
I mean, fair is fair, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey.
I'm trying to give an equal scenario for both people.
I mean, it's true. I have to put my biases aside as being a woman and be like, fair is fair. I had someone trying to shoot my pleasure center off, then I would be upset too. So yeah.
How would you handle a game of Russian roulette or whatever?
Not well.
Oh my God, that'd be the most nerve-wracking thing that could happen.
Would you
Yeah.
rather play Russian roulette or
Chop poker.
Finger,
top poker?
chop poker.
Chop poker.
Chop poker. 'Cause
The
you can
odds are
really-
just slightly in my favor.
Yeah, and you're not going to die. You might lose in a finger.
Oh God.
Well, I wasn't done that. It's the wheel of chop poker. And you spin the wheel, and it's either your finger, it's either a testicle, it's a nose, and then the ultimate, the head. Chop poker.
Interesting.
It'd be rough.
So I'm going Russian roulette.
Yeah, you don't, but you could like not lose anything with Russian roulette.
One and done.
I don't know. That's all it takes.
Oh my
Only takes
God.
one mess up.
Audience, what would you rather play if you had to? If you were in a Saw situation, he's like, you are either playing chopped poker or you're playing Russian roulette. I'm going with Russian roulette. Keep in mind, this chop poker version, it's the spin the wheel. Could be your head, could be your dong.
Chopping off your head would be so rough. Can you imagine like with a doll's like knife or something like that?
No.
You'd
Oh my
rather just get
gosh.
shot in the head.
Birdie's getting a little dark over here.
Wow.
It would take like 30 minutes.
Saw. Like it's not going to be like, oh, let me just chop off your head. It's going to be awful.
Ugh.
I imagine it had to be really tough to chop off a head.
Yeah.
It was such a common practice back in the day, the medieval times.
They'd use the bastard swords, those giant ones. That's the
Could
only way you could.
imagine walking up to that's the anticipation of walking to your beheading
Oh my
the night
gosh.
before. You know the whole town's gonna be watching you, and oh my
Or a
god!
guillotine is scary too because you don't even see anything happening. It just they pull the thing and
That's got to be
I
the
feel like
best
I would
way.
at least try to
it's
escape.
quick.
That's got to be the best way. And there's a lot of people that believe that, I think there's some science and research that, your brain still gets some blood flow for a little bit after your head
Yeah,
comes
you're
off.
like semi.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Yeah, I would try to escape. It's like I'd rather die trying.
Absolutely.
You
Well,
gotta
50
die.
cents.
Always die trying.
Get rich or die trying.
I don't get some of these people that are on death row, and they give them a last meal, and they eat it. I couldn't eat if I knew I was gonna die the next day or that night. I couldn't eat anything. Could you?
No.
I know.
Even if they slid your favorite pizza under the door?
I just think I'd be so gone mentally that there's no way I'd be able to eat. There's no way.
I'd be too anxious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You would just sit there.
Well,
I
I feel
would-
like even if you had a year left, the whole time you're thinking, all right, I got a year. Anything can happen in a year. I still got some time. It's that last month, man, where you would be really feeling that's the torture. That's where the victims' families get the peace, probably.
Yeah,
Or
but you
something.
probably would be used to living in prison for so long and just accepting your death that maybe that last night you'd be like, fuck, I'm finally gonna have something good to eat for once. Like
Pizza, some self-stimulation,
yeah, like you could be
ready
just
to go.
you may have already gone and accepted it at that point too if you've been locked up for a long time.
I don't know. I mean, they said Bundy was crying like a little bitch when they were bringing him to he was in jail for quite a long time. But to your point, he still thought he had a shot of, prolonging that. So that was such a devastating blow for him, which was great for the victims' families because they thought he was going to, get off or be on death row for another 10 or 15 years. Some of these serial killers don't get off death row and die till 25 years later.
Yeah.
What kind of justice is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on what you think. Like if you think it's an easy way out, like if you don't believe in an afterlife, you can be like, that's too easy. I want them to suffer. But for some people, they believe they're gonna go to hell or whatever. And so they want them to suffer that way.
It always goes back to that one video we saw, Denny's, of that serial killer Richard Speck. Now, if you don't know who Richard Speck is, back in the late 60s, he broke into this nurse's ward and butchered, I believe, 9 nurses. He sexually abused them, tied them up. They would hear the other nurses getting murdered. One nurse hid under a bed and survived and heard everything. And then I identified him in the courthouse, or in the trial. But what sucked was years later, this video surfaced of him in prison doing as many drugs as he wants. He was a prostitute for, I believe, a gang in prison. He had gotten fake bosoms. And the video is him shirtless with his fake boobs out, doing all kind of drugs, talking in the camera, saying how if all of the family's victims knew how great he was doing. I mean, he was just doing so great, he was telling everybody. To me, that's so messed up if you're the victim's, family.
It's a pretty rough video to watch.
How could that cat not be under some kind of surveillance?
Yeah, how did that even happen?
Well, he's in prison and he's living the life and he's getting elective surgeries.
How does that happen, though?
Yeah, Ted Bundy got someone pregnant in prison. Then Ted Bundy got married in court. How the hell does that happen?
How is that happening in prison? It's insane.
Definitely shouldn't be allowed.
But Bundy started a family and got married in prison.
All it takes is a guard that's willing to take a little bit of cash to turn their head for a couple minutes.
It's
All it
so
takes.
corrupt. Like, that's upsetting to hear.
It's
pretty rough.
good luck, Birdie.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up. You guys have did just such a great job tonight.
I had a
Anything
question. Were
else?
you going to ask about the dreams? I was curious about that question you asked today about
On the
you dream
Facebook.
about?
I'll go to Facebook right now. Yeah, we did put something up on our KVJ Facebook page, and it was basically just saying, who out there has a reoccurring dream? And if you do have a reoccurring dream, what are they about? I have a lot of them. I talk about the Armageddon one. I talk about the one where I'm always walking up in this apartment building. And when I'm walking up on this apartment building, I know I'm walking into a really shitty nightmare. And that is so reoccurring. Vicky, do you have reoccurring dreams?
Yeah, I have fire, water, and snakes. 3 separate ones that I've been having since I was a little kid.
I am always at school too. I'm an adult as I am now, but I'm back in school and I'm trying to get my degree. And I didn't make a grade, or I'm not going to make the baseball team because I didn't make grades. And then halfway through my dream, I go, Bird, you're already passed. Why are you so upset? And then I go, oh, damn, you old as fuck. And then I wake up.
Yeah, I have one where in the dream I think I never got my high school diploma. And like all of a sudden in the dream, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even have a high school diploma. And then there's the other one where I'm on the bus on the way to school and I'm in my pajamas. And I realize I'm in my pajamas.
The degree one, I have that about my bachelor's degree in college. I never can find it in my dream. And then someone's telling me I have to take one more class. It's crazy. Yeah, I wonder what that is. I'm sure our chat room can analyze that. Denny's, I know you don't dream that much at all.
No, I don't. I used to have a recurring dream about a wolf appearing outside my window when I was a kid, but it faded. I don't know if that stems from a fear. I don't know if I necessarily have a wolf fear. I don't know if that means something, some sort of wolf connection. But yeah, it kind of went away. I don't have any reoccurring, but I imagine anything that causes you anxiety or things you worry about could manifest in dreams that reoccur.
What's that apartment building I'm rolling up to, Denny's? Why is it always there? And when I'm walking up there, why is it always kind of windy? And I know it's I'm walking into doom. What is that?
I don't know, man.
It's ominous.
Yeah. I think a lot of yours probably stems from watching such, those scary HBO documentaries as a child. So I don't think they helped.
Do we think that scary stuff like that there's any benefit to it other than just pure entertainment? Is there any I think there's benefit in laughing in comedy. Is there any benefit in watching things scary?
I think for some people, it actually gives them, it relieves them.
I like scary movies, but I love scary video games, ones that just are made to terrify you. Like, I love that for some reason. I like being scared. It's weird.
Yeah.
Endorphins.
Those kind of games that are very scary, that make you really tense, once you get through it and then you relax, it's almost kind of like a euphoric feeling.
Yeah,
it is.
That's an orgasm, right? Tightening and release.
It is. It is.
Bernie, I'm sorry.
Do you want to ask what your reoccurring dreams are, Beckett?
I wish they were like really good ones, but I don't have any good sex reoccurring dreams, if that's what you're alluding to.
Ironically, that's what I have. Those are the only recurring dreams sometimes that I have. But.
Nice.
Sex reoccurring dreams?
Huh?
You have sex dreams that are reoccurring?
Yeah, with like a person, but I'm not gonna go into it.
Are you loyal? Are you loyal in your reoccurring dreams? It's the same person?
It depends on, well, yeah. Because it's like, it's usually like who I'm interested in or something like that. So obviously, but during those periods of time, yes.
So same scenario, just a different person.
Yes.
Cool. All right, y'all. We got to wrap it up, unfortunately. I have been up since 3:30 and my ass is tired. Anything to plug? Anybody really quick? Beckett, anything?
Yeah, I'm running the Grand Canyon for one of my favorite dog rescues I work with Monday night. If you want to follow, I'll post some stuff on Weird and Whatever Instagram. And we are running 48 miles, one side of the Grand Canyon to the other and back.
Damn.
We're doing it for Danny and Ron's Rescue. Awesome organization. So that's Monday night during the super moon. So I'll be in touch with everyone and post some updates, but that's fun.
Love it, Beckett. We love dogs. Birdney, plugging.
Hope everyone has a great week.
You are awesome.
I like it.
If anybody has any unexplained activity in their home, remember, you can contact me at contact@pointparanormal.com. All of our services are 100% free.
It's awesome. And let us know, too, if you guys have any pictures or videos. I know someone sent you something, Vicky, a few weeks ago. Maybe we can analyze that next week. Or you had asked them to send it to you. I'm not sure if they ever did or not. But if you do have something, send it to my Facebook or send it to any of my social medias. Jason KVJ on my Instagram, Jason Bigfoot on Twitter, or even what's our KVJ, Denny's?
You can do mail@kvjshow.com.
Yeah, I hate all there's so many emails. I apologize, guys. All right, weirdos. We love you all. Have a great, great week. Be safe and Bigfoot.